Hello, everyone. Welcome to SJI Talks with Dani Zoldan today. We have our guest. My name is Shahed Islam, CEO of SJ Innovation. Over the last 20 years, I learned so much from so many people around me whom I met, and I thought it would be a good idea to share their knowledge, what they have learned, and share with you. So today's guest is Dani Zoldan. I have known Danny for I think over 20 years, Danny, right?
20,
And
yeah, 20 years, which is pretty
20
amazing.
years. So it's interesting, that we know each other for so long and we have grown as entrepreneurs together also. I have seen your business grown and you have seen my business grow. So welcome to SJI Talks, Danny. So
Thank you
why don't you
for
introduce
having
yourself, about, what you are doing, who are you?
Sure. So I'm 39 years old. I've been an entrepreneur since 19. Um, that's probably when we met. I was 19 or 20 years old, which is pretty amazing. That was like my first experience in business. I think you were developing a website that I was involved with.
Yes, yes, with
2020
Ronnie, with
with
Ronnie.
Ronnie. That's
Yeah.
right. So it's pretty crazy that we've kept in touch over the years. It's pretty cool. But I've been an entrepreneur since I'm 19. As I said, when I was 24, I started a telecom company, which I sold about 5 years ago. And 12 years ago, while I was running my telecom company, I bought a comedy club called Stand Up New York. It's been around for 33 years. Um, and since since then, we developed a comedy podcast network. We created a comedy education division, a comedy membership program, and a creative agency where we create funny and engaging content for brands. So we've been able um, to build off of the foundation of Stand Up New York, which has a very rich history. A lot of big name comedians have been there: Jerry Seinfeld, um, Kevin Hart, Chris Rock, Robin Williams. I mean, it has a very rich history. So that's really my focus now. I've been at a telecom for quite a few years, and my focus is the comedy business.
That's good. Good to hear. So, Danny, I was talking to you earlier, and I have seen you. By the way, congratulations, featuring on New York Times. I have seen that your club is
Thank
all
you.
over the news.
Thank
Um,
you.
One thing interesting fact about your organization in this pandemic time, I have seen you posting very positive news on social media and other places. But what is interesting, what have you done in last 6 months to survive, and thrive in your business? You are a perfect example, and I want you to explain to our viewers, what have you done, to survive in this time?
Got my survival techniques from my childhood. In mid March, when things started to shut down, I just naturally went into survival mode, and like right away, I just like really like that day. I remember when the NBA canceled their season. That's when I realized like we're going to be closed for a long time. The first thing that I did was I went through all my business expenses, and I just like cut, whatever I can cut like right away, because I knew I wouldn't have any money coming in for who knows how long. So that was my priority. Cutting expenses right away, like really went into survival mode. You know, Thinking like who knows when the next, you know, any money will come in. Um, and really like March, April, May, we experimented a little bit. We did a live stream show, so comics came in, and they performed on our stage, which we streamed online. There wasn't an audience in the club. We did a show in front of the club on the sidewalk. Um, so we did experiment a little during those most difficult months, March, April, May. But I really used that time to just clear my head and get organized. I've been at the club for 12 years, and it's been kind of a roller coaster, and it may not have appeared so much from the outside, but I felt very disorganized, and we didn't have a clear vision or identity. I felt like we weren't on top of the customer experience. I felt like we weren't on top of our relationships with comics. So I just took that time to just, clean up the club, get organized, think clearly. Very few people contacted me during those months. Um, and then, when the weather started turning warmer, we used that as an opportunity just to start putting on shows outside. A comedian friend of mine gave me the idea to do like an open mic for comics in a park downtown, and I'm like, why don't we, think bigger? Let's do like a real show in Central Park. So we did a show. Um, I don't recall the exact date. Sometime in June was the first show, and like 50 people showed up.
Hmm.
And right away, instantly, uh, you know, the feedback was incredible. Comics were just very appreciative, um, you know, to us for organizing a show. They haven't performed in front of an audience in 3 months. We paid them. The audience members also haven't been outside for months, so they walked over to us at the show. They emailed us after. They sent us messages on social media. Just it felt great being out amongst people and laughing again, and thanked us for just providing some entertainment to them. So I mean, right then and there that day, I realized we had something different and special, and there was no one else in the city really doing any live entertainment. So I seized the opportunity, and I wanted to expand as quickly as possible in as many locations as possible in Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, and we've been able to successfully scale up to 50 shows a week now.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's
Amazing. Amazing.
really, yeah, it's really um, rebuilt our reputation with comics, with comedy fans in New York. Before the pandemic, um, we had a lot of tourists coming to the club, and I
Mhm.
couldn't figure out why locals weren't coming. Like why like so many tourists from Norway and Denmark and Sweden.
Wow.
I couldn't figure it out. We just weren't able to find a local audience. And then all the tourists left, uh, and we started putting on these shows
Mhm.
in so many neighborhoods, and that just like clicked, and they're all locals, which is great.
Mhm. So you actually pivot the business pretty well. I mean, what happened in this pandemic time? I talked to a lot of business owner panicking, and you have to reinvent yourself. Like I was reading a stats that every year 600,000 businesses close in USA, and 500,000 we open. So I think in this tough time, I really felt really good hearing about your business, that you actually instead of saying that, oh, I give up, you actually you brought innovation as a leader, and that's what very important for anyone, any businessman out there. Thank you.
Just to touch on that, yeah, I mean, you can either, and it's sad, a lot of businesses did close down,
Hmm.
especially local businesses. I walk around the neighborhood that I live in on the Upper West Side, and every third storefront is like closed down.
Hmm.
So a lot of people, I guess, I don't know, gave up, just closed. I think we were. I mean, we've been able to successfully be creative and use this time uh, to pivot.
Yeah, pivot. That's what the keyword is. So if you were giving somebody else, a businessman in any country, that the advice how to survive, and what are the three things you would mention to the businessman that, hey, these are the three things made me successful so far, and this is the lesson I have learned in this pandemic time.
Yeah, I mean, I think one is always being conscious about building your network. I'm every day uh, whenever I meet someone, whether they're a web developer, a web designer, an app developer, a bookkeeper, an accountant, a lawyer, no matter what their specialty is in whatever industry, maybe they're a writer, they're a reporter, they're a comic, they're an agent, they're a manager. I actually have a spreadsheet of like everybody that I've met, like in the past 20 years,
Wow.
that like has something to offer, some skill. So and I'm on top of that every day. I have someone helping me, Jamil, who's my he's my guy in Pakistan,
Mhm.
my virtual assistant. He helps me manage that database. Um, but I'm very aware if I meet an accountant. Like you never know when you'll need an accountant. If I meet a
Mhm.
real estate lawyer, you never know when you'll need a real estate lawyer. If I meet a bookkeeper, um, so I mean, and usually you always come back and refer to that network. An investor, even if you don't see value in that person now,
Mhm.
one day if you're on top of your network and your contacts, you can always go back and lean on those people. But it's vice versa also. Like you don't only want to take from the people, you want to offer something. So I'm always conscious of that also.
Mhm.
Um, Anyone I meet, you know, I try to be helpful to them also.
That's good. Actually, just a note that I actually maintain the similar, like we have a CRM, we have about 541, and people ask me, how do I build my business? I tell them I am very consistent with my network. 541 exactly as of today, we have it. And that's the people who give me 90% of the business also. So
I
this is a
think I
very,
think I think I'm up to 3,500. I have
that's
3,500 people, and it's their name, it's their email, it's their phone number, it's their industry, it's their title, it's how I met them.
Mhm.
Who
Wow.
introduced me to them, where I met them,
Wow.
anything I can remember about them.
I will
It's all
definitely
in
take
that
this
spread.
advice.
Yeah. Also, like little things like, um, I mean, Facebook helps with that, but every morning I get a Facebook notification, whose birthday it is. So like I see, oh, Shahed's birthday, I'm gonna email him or text him, So like those little things I'm very conscious of. If I see it's someone's birthday that I know, I'll email them, I'll text them. It shows you that you actually care about them, and it means a lot. There was someone um, I know who's very high up in the advertising industry. I saw on Facebook it was his birthday today. I shot him a text, like happy birthday with like you know a birthday cake and a heart emoji. It shows that you
Yeah,
care.
sure. What would be the second advice?
Clear vision and leadership. It's something that I didn't have for a very long time. I feel like that changed during the pandemic. Those 3 months sitting at the bar. I used that time, besides rebuilding our relationship with our fans and the comics, but also keeping in touch with our staff. Like I know some business owners. I've heard stories of business owners or CEOs that like shut down during the pandemic and didn't reach out to their staff at all for like 3 months, just like radio silence. I was very aware, like I'm going to use this time to actually reach out to my staff, text them, email them, call them, just check in and show that you care. So I think that's part of like leadership, where I don't know, for 12 years, I feel like I didn't have that connection with my staff as much as I do now. And it's really because of the pandemic and being away from the club for a few months, where I just realized, you know, I didn't neglect that one-on-one connection. I guess when I ran the club for so many years, day to day, you lose sight of that. Like you think about, your bills. You think about just putting butts in seats. You think about just getting top names.
Mm-hmm.
And we had shows every single night. So I guess it was I didn't have any space to like really think about like our staff and how to be a better leader.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then regarding vision, like I think our vision also developed during the pandemic, and I realized I really took over the voice of the club. The
Mm-hmm.
past 12 years, I let like our general manager run the club, whoever the manager was.
Mm-hmm.
But I took over. I actually took over like our social media accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's posted without it being run through me. Nothing posted on social. Nothing's sent out in our email newsletter without
Mm-hmm.
my approval. And it's really my voice that's out there, and it's working. I mean, the numbers prove it. Since I took over the club, we had 8,400 Instagram followers in the first 12 years. Now we have over 12,000.
Wow. That's
So
pretty
we
good.
went from 8,400 in March to 12,000,
Wow.
and 8,400 the first 12 years or 10 years. So a vision that sometimes it takes like years to develop.
Mm-hmm.
But one day it just clicks, and you just need to follow that vision and own it, and just have clear leadership.
Thank you. What would be the third one?
The third one is something that I recently started working on, maintaining a positive work and life balance. Um, a year ago, actually, I was in the ER because I had a panic attack. I didn't really make it like so public, um, but I just felt a little off. Like my body felt very weak. Um, there was like a month last summer where I would walk to work and I'd feel very like lightheaded, and my body, you know, something didn't feel right. And I went to urgent care, and my blood pressure was like super high, and they sent me to the ER, and I had a panic attack. And I've had many, many panic attacks since then in the past year. And I was just diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. So the past year, there's been a lot of anxiety and panic attacks. And actually, just this week, I started my routine for so many years was right when I wake up, I go on the laptop and I check emails.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not working for me anymore. And the past 3 days, actually, 3 days in a row, with the encouragement from my wife, right when I wake up, I go outside, go for a long walk. So I live on 71st Street. Like this
Mm-hmm.
morning, 8 a.m., we walked together, me and my wife, to like 90th Street, like up Amsterdam Avenue, down Broadway, back to 70th Street. So like 2 miles.
Wow, that's pretty good.
A 2 mile walk the past 3 nights, the
Mm-hmm.
3 mornings, and I've been feeling much better already.
Wha-
Um, so I've just like it's 12 o'clock. I'm still home.
Mm-hmm.
So like you were telling me before this interview, I also, I mean, if if I knew if I kept up this lifestyle, like I would have a heart attack and I'll be dead.
Yeah.
And I have
Yeah.
3 kids,
Uh-huh.
and there's been so many signs in the past year with so many panic attacks and anxiety where I would cancel meetings with people. Um, I would I would be at the office, or I would be at the club and then go home in the middle of the day because I had overwhelming anxiety. And I would just like lie in my bed until it passed. I
Mhm.
mean that happened probably 2 dozen times in the past year.
I mean, I went through the same thing 4 years ago, and it is very common. So again, Danny, thank you for your time. I think the last one is I can easily relate to myself. I went through panic attack and anxiety for some time, but I think there is hope out there. Again, congratulations for you, all the success and all the hard work you putting in. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I really hope you are more successful in coming weeks and months. And I hope the pandemic is gone soon, and we would be all back to regular business. So thank you.
Amen. And let's keep our friendship going for another 20 years also.
Yes, yes, definitely.
We'll
Thank
be
you,
we'll
man.
be, we'll be grandparents.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Danny.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye bye.
Nice weekend.